I finally went and saw Upgrade last night in theaters. I wanted to go when it came out on June 1st, but it just didn't work out. I'm so glad I got to see this in theaters because it was so good and the theater experience was really fun. Seeing the people around me, their reactions, made the theater experience even more worth it. It is written and directed by Lee Winnell, who has made a bunch of my favorite movies like Saw, Insidious, Cooties. So I was hype already for this movie, and I even did an expectations video for it, which I'll link above. Is it this side? Yeah, I'll link above in the cards if you want to watch this before you finish watching my actual review. My expectations were high already, and the actual film exceeded my expectations, which was amazing. That's very rare for that to happen. But Upgrade is about a man who witnesses his wife get murdered, and the men who murdered his wife also paralyze him. The man's name is Gray, and he is very against technology since this takes place in the near future. I'm not sure exactly when because I don't think they showed it in the film, but technology is definitely even more advanced than it is now. He is totally against them using technology to help him walk again. The setting was very well done. It felt realistic and gritty, and the way they explored different locations in it were also really cool. It felt believable and as though it could actually happen in the upcoming future. It also, I think I've seen this comparison before, but it did remind me of a Black Mirror episode or just Black Mirror in general. It was definitely along the lines of that, but I love Black Mirror, so I had no problem with that. Even though this might not be for everyone, I completely understand why. I really didn't like Gray's character at first. It felt like he was the old man yells at cloud meme, if you know what I'm talking about from The Simpsons. But it just reminded me of that and how he was so against technology. But I can see how, this was an easy plot device to use to get him to actually be a strong character and have a good character arc. After he does get STEM implanted, which is an experimental technology that will help him walk again, since I believe a part of his spine was severed, so he couldn't walk, he couldn't use his arms, anything. His character changes and really develops, and I just really appreciate strong characters, and I always feel like Lee Winnell just makes strong characters all the time. He's just really good at that. I did like the other characters, and I have seen some reviews about how the other characters left something to be desired and they were kind of lackluster. I can understand why it may feel like this to some, but I feel like they were pretty well rounded out as much as they could be because it was mainly just about Gray and his experience trying to hunt down the men who killed his wife. The villains were really good, and I don't know if it's just because I've only seen the trailer once as soon as it was released, or they just didn't include or spoil this at all in the trailers, which if that is true, I do appreciate that. I didn't know the villains were gonna be what they were, which was really cool. I mean, I'm not gonna spoil it. I almost just did because I was so excited. Like, this movie, I'm still excited about this movie. I thought about it all day and I just got home from work, but like, I was thinking about it all day and how awesome it was, and I can't wait to see it again so I can dive into it even more and dissect it more. I love the entire aesthetic of it and just how it looked. It was very visually pleasing, so if you're into movies, I mean, who isn't into movies that aren't visually pleasing? But if you're into neon and just different lighting techniques and just kind of a little experimental things like that, you're really gonna like this film because it was beautiful. The camera work was fucking awesome. I mean, if you're not up for the entire plot of it, just seeing it for the actual look of it and how well it is written besides the plot, I mean, it was just so awesome. They show some of this in the trailer, but the parts where Stem is in control of Gray, the camera work is just really intense, but you can still see what's going on. I also read in some reviews that people couldn't really see what was going on in these moments. I can understand how that might happen, but I was fine with it. Most of the time in action scenes like that, I don't understand what's going on because the camera moves so fast. But the way, it was just a little different. I mean, you'll have to see for yourself if this does sound interesting to you. Going back to reviews I've read and watched about Upgrade, it talked about how the gore was really good, and I was not disappointed at all. I mean, it was intense and I loved every second of it. There was an older couple sitting next to me and my friend last night when we saw it, and they literally gasped at multiple parts, and it was just really funny to see them react. But the kills were so badass, they did not disappoint. I also feel like it wasn't oversaturated with gore, but they gave you enough to leave you satisfied until the next kill. I also feel like the kills were inventive, which is hard to do because almost everything's been done at least once. But I felt like I was watching something fresh and new, and I could just really appreciate that, especially with all the sequels and prequels and stuff coming out, which I still obviously love. It was just cool to see something new. I'm a little conflicted about the ending, and I'm hoping once I see it again, I'll make up my mind about it. But it was kind of somber, and I mean, I understand why. It fits in, but I just don't personally like it because I hate sad endings. But it was a good actual ending. It was a good actual ending. It's just my own personal thing with sad endings. I'm not gonna go further than that. Like I said, I mean, I can't give any more praise to this. It was just so fucking awesome, and I really recommend checking this out in theaters if you can. I mean, it was so good, I'm gonna go and rewatch it and spend $12 more to see it.